This is High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Welcome back to High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on this Saturday, the 3rd day of August. Glad you are tuned in here to ESPN Radio 94.1. And another one of our favorites joins us. Eddie is the longtime head football coach of the Woodside Wolverines over at Newport News. They've made the playoffs 6 consecutive years. And as good of a coach as this guy is, he's also a classy guy. We say hello to Coach Danny Dodson. Coach, thank you for joining us on the program. How's the summer going?
It's going well. It's going well. It's always short when you start talking about getting out of school and then getting back to football practice, but it's been good.
Did you envision when you came to Woodside, and correct me if I'm wrong, you came to Woodside, was it from Craig County?
I did. Well, I was at Craig County, and then I was at Western Branch for a year as an assistant.
That's right, with Lou Johnson. When you got the Woodside job about 20 years ago, did you think you'd be here 20 years still coaching this group? And you guys are always consistently in the hunt in the playoffs. In a Peninsula District where we know for years it was always Hampton, Phoebus. But these Wolverines you've had have had a couple of years where you've gone 10-0 and you've beaten both Hampton and Phoebus.
Yeah, I never would have envisioned me being here 20. I guess this year 21 coming up. I never would have thought I'd be here this long, but it's been good, and it's been nice to be able to be mentioned with some of those better teams over the last several years.
Danny, Ed Young here. As you get being the veteran that you've been and you're in there, we just had some coaches on that are different situations. Coach Cobbins has taken over first time over at Grafton. You've got Kermit Buggs, who's done a lot of college coaching, coming back to the high school level. You've been pretty consistent. As you approach this year, is there anything in terms of something slightly different from maybe the past years that you're looking to do? Is it pretty much streamlined as to how you want to do it? Take us through that mindset of somebody that's been doing this for a while and been doing it very successfully.
I think, it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, what you do as far as your philosophy. We're a wing T team. That's what we're going to be. And that's what we do. I don't think it really matters what you do as long as you have I guess an idea exactly what you want and you do it consistently. I don't think you can jump around from one offense to another all the time and be successful. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've been successful is we do what we do, and I think that consistency over the course of years has benefited us.
Now, let me challenge you on something, Danny. They often say, as coaches, we have to make what we do fit our personnel. We don't necessarily say, well, this is what we're going to do, and doggone it, these players are going to do it whether they like it or not. You have to kind of see what you have before you put your stuff in. I tend to think sometimes that's a little misleading because, okay, I'm going to use an example. You've been so successful at what you've done all these years, and as your kids come into the program, they do that offense that you run. So talk about that kind of a situation in terms for younger coaches to listen to.
I think, for us, we're wing T, but we will adjust our emphasis on the wing T depending on the personnel we have. So, we're not always going to be tight end wing and line up and try to mash and run buck sweep. Some years we're better. We might be better at throwing the ball. Might spread it out a little bit, but our base is going to be the wing T. So I think you do have to adjust somewhat to your talent, but I don't think you completely wholesale out of what you do to do something different just for the sake of doing something different.
Now, I will have to learn you like I've learned some of these beach coaches.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Okay. Because you doggone guys, it's round and pound and 30 yards of dust and whatever. When 3rd and 1, the whole world knows you are going to run. I'm telling you, flea flicker, quarterback end around, these things work. These youngsters will do the crazy stuff better than you think. You've got to loosen up a little bit and pitch that thing around.
The summer's gone to his head, Danny.
Yeah, then you do that and it doesn't work. You're the biggest idiot in the world.
Well, I've been called out, among other things, as the basketball coach on the sideline trying some different things. But that's why I couldn't do football. I could not do fourth and goal. I'm telling you, we're doing end around. I'm just letting you know that.
I hope you coach sometime. I know what to defend you on.
Chatting with Danny Dodson, the head football coach of the Woodside Wolverines, our guest here on ESPN Radio 94.1. It's High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Wolverines open up August the 30th against Gloucester. Their non-district game follows that on September the 5th against Norview as they replace Highland Springs. Let's talk about that for a second, Coach. Highland Springs, the last 2 years, you played them. They're four-time defending state champs. You know how good they are. My goodness, you glad you won't have to see them unless it's in the playoffs?
Hey, I hope we do make that point and see them in the playoffs. You know, they're a good team. They're well coached. I think that somebody asked me about getting out of Division 6 and not having to worry about Oscar Smith and Ocean Lakes, but Charlie, it's not going to be a cakewalk for sure. We got a lot of good Division 5 teams, maybe as good or better. So Highland Springs is good, very, very good.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I don't mean this in any knock or to get people at Ocean Lakes or Oscar Smith upset because Class 6 is still very good, and you got Lansdowne who's beat you guys in the playoffs the last couple of years, and you've beaten them once before in the playoffs, I think going back to 2016 it was. But, Coach, I think Class 5 is very, very deep, and as you go into this change of classification, certainly you guys still going to run what you run, but tell us about some of the faces we should watch for beginning on the offensive side of the ball with the quarterback and the backs.
We've got a returning quarterback, Tyler Thompson, returning quarterback. He's a track guy. He's a 10.8, 100-meter guy. He can fly, and he's back. And along with him, we've got Khalif Wilson, who he actually alternated with Tyler early in the year last year until he dislocated his elbow. And Khalif's back too. We might be able to run both those guys quarterback, but Khalif will be running our halfback spot if he's not at the quarterback slot. And, he's a very, very athletic young man. At tailback, what we call a tailback, we have probably Desmond Wright or Bryce Phipps. Both of them played a lot last year. They both gained at least 500 to 600 yards apiece last year. Wright had to play the halfback when Jimson got hurt. But both those guys are very, very good at running the football. And then we got a young man, Braden Bird, that he was at Surrey a couple of years ago. He's a big old young man. He's going to be our wing back, and he's very, very athletic. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. And then our split end will be Ricky Key. He's a returning guy. He caught a number of touchdown passes for us last year.
Good deal. And how about in the trenches? Some of the offensive linemen and defensive linemen, they don't get a lot of the glory, as you know, but I know you've had some pretty good ones here in recent years, and defensively some standouts, be it at the linebacker, defensive box spots as well.
Yeah, offensive line-wise, I tell you, we got some questions. That's probably our biggest question. I think, our skill guys got a lot of returning guys. Those line guys, I've got Tony Harrington returning center. This will be his third year starting for us. He's a junior. I think he's been very, very consistent for us over the last couple of years, and we consider him, one of those. I guess he was, his second-team All-District last, maybe first-team All-District last year. I can't remember. I know he was one of the All-District players. As far as the rest of it, we have Cameron Lawrence started some games for us last year at tackle. He'll be back, and then Will Sanchez had to play some in our playoff game against Lansdowne when my all-region guard got hurt in the third quarter. He finished up the game. Actually did a pretty good job. So those guys are the really only returning guys we have on the offensive front. Not sure what the rest of it's going to look like yet. Kind of too early to tell, but I think we got some guys that can do some things up there for us.
And then what about defensively? Who should we keep an eye out for?
Defensively, I think returning we've got Tyrese White is a defensive end. He's really good. He plays as good as anybody I have. I think he has an offer from Davidson at this point. He's done a good job. I think Bird might play some on the defensive line. At linebackers, we're fortunate enough to get Seth Nawatala from Menchville. Him and his brother Koa both transferred over here early in this past spring, and see those two guys as being a big part of what we do defensively. Sanchez would probably be a linebacker, as well as a young man named Ryan Signoree. He's been he's been consistent for us. He played a lot last year as a sophomore at the running back or the linebacker position. Then a free safety, we have Andrew. He's got an offer from Army and a couple others out there. He's a 3-year starter for us, a free safety. I think he's our leading tackler. And then Demetrius Bailey, one of our corners, is a guy I haven't mentioned yet. He's athletic junior coming up.
Coach, you have a youngster that I saw on the basketball court this summer. We played against Woodside in the summer league. I really liked him, and Matt had told me he does play some football. Jimison, I think is his name.
Yes.
Last name's Jimison.
Khalif Jimison, yes, sir. He's my backup quarterback, and he's my starting halfback, and he'll be my starting defense corner too. He's tremendous. He's a very, very good player.
He getting some looks at the next level?
He is. I know he's had 2 offers. I think he had I know if he had an offer from Howard and VMI. He might have some more out there, but I know about those 2. He can play. He's a guy I think some other people are missing the boat on him. He can play.
I know that Woodside basketball team is very athletic and some big kids. Is there any other kids from that basketball squad that you have playing football?
I think he's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. No, I do have another guy that played. Avery Scott was playing basketball. I assume he's still playing this year. He's playing with us, playing football for us for the first time this year. He's a rising sophomore or rising junior 1. He's going to be a good player.
Danny Dodson, our guest here on ESPN Radio 94.1. It's High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com as the Wolverines gear up for the 2019 campaign and another deep playoff run that they are hoping to have as they move from Class 6 down to Class 5. They open up August the 30th at Gloucester. And Coach, how do you size up the competition in the Peninsula District and regionally speaking for this coming year? And I know you got 2 good scrimmages as measuring sticks. We had Doug Pereira of York on a couple weeks back. They're always good in the Bay Rivers. And no slouch, Hank Sawyer's Lake Taylor Titans, who made it to the state championship game last year.
Yeah, starting out with Lake Taylor, that's always a shock to our kids' systems. Those guys, Hank, they got those guys flying around, and they hit you and they get after you pretty good. So that's a good scrimmage for us to start with. It kind of opens our eyes a little bit to what the speed of the game really is. And of course, Doug does a great job over at York. They give us a great scrimmage every year. And going in the Peninsula, I honestly don't know what to think. I know Phoebus going to be pretty good. They've got a lot of guys returning. Other than that, I really don't know of any team that has a lot of guys returning in the Peninsula. The same boat, we've got some returning guys are pretty good. We also got some big question marks here and there. So I think we're all kind of the same boat from that standpoint. I think in the region, I know I've heard a lot of good things about Nansemond River. I understand Nansemond River's got a lot of good players and ready to make a run. Of course, Indian River's always good in Division 5, and Northview's supposed to be pretty good.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time today. We wish you all the best this coming year. Enjoy the rest of your summer. And if you ever need that flea flicker play, just give us a call. Ed Young will hook you up, all right?
I will. I'll have to get with him on that one.
Danny, I'm telling you, put it in. I'm telling you, you'll be like, doggone it, that thing works.
I'm going to have to get the blocking scheme for that.
Thank you, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Good luck,
okay,
Danny.
Thanks.
Yeah, Danny Dodson, head football coach of the Wolverines of Woodside High in Newport News with us here on High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We'll come back, I think, with a couple minutes and then finish up the show here. Ed's got you got any more flea flicker plays you want to throw out there to people? Or?
End around is nice. I'm trying to tackle eligible off the.
What about the reverse pass? You want to work on a reverse pass?
The kids will mess that up. They'll mess that one up.
Oh, okay.
Flea flicker is the one.
But to run the end around 4th and goal, that'll work. That'll score.
I'm telling you to work because nobody suspects it. So do it.
All right, 757-687-9494 is the number. Back in a bit here on ESPN Radio 94.1.